This week I have 7 bitter cold horror movies for you and I to crochet to. As soon as you turn it on, you feel it in your bones. The ambiance gets so deep that you're gonna want an extra blanket. You might even switch up what you're crocheting because you just want an extra layer of coziness. Feel like these are perfect for this time of year, especially where I'm at. It's snowy, it's cold, it's gray. So seeing that outside and then having the movie going, everything just comes together and adds to the eeriness of it. As always, we'll go through all the movies, and at the end, we'll have a little yarn chat about what I'm working up, the yarn that I'm using, and this week is Tunisian crochet. Starting off with one that is a rewatch for me every single winter, Werewolf Within from 2021. We get an hour and 37 minutes of crochet time, and currently this is streaming on Tubi. In a small Vermont town, a group of people are trapped at a B&B by a snowstorm when suspicions arise that one among them is a werewolf. So we're trying to figure out two different things throughout this entire movie. One, are werewolves a thing in this universe that we're in? And two, if they are, who is causing all the chaos that's happening around or in and around this B&B? It is a horror comedy, which is my all-time favorite genre of horror movies. So when we get an attack and it's big and it's splattery, over the top, it looks very dramatic because it's against this white snowy background. This is definitely a rewatchable movie for me, even after knowing the mystery. It doesn't ruin the fun for me. I love the setting. I love how everything feels very isolated. Even before the snowstorm has hit, you just feel like this town exists kind of on its own. There's not a lot of traffic that goes through there, and when there's somebody new, everyone's gonna know there's a new person in town. There are a ton of jump scares throughout this entire movie, but nothing that you can't see coming. Like, the music plays a big effect into it, and when there is a jump scare that occurs, you're not seeing much of really anything. Basically, through the entire movie, we just get snippets of things here and there. There is a big reveal at the end, but we have to get all the way through the story before that moment. So if you miss a jump scare because you're looking down at your project or something, you can rewind. It's not going to be that big a deal. And also, they go on for a little bit too. So if something happens to a character, that character is going to have the focus for quite a while. It's not just like jump scare and then move on and oh my gosh, I missed this whole big part of the movie. Even though it does take place during the nighttime for a lot of this movie, I didn't wear a necklight with it and I was totally fine with the project that I was working on. Up next, we have The Damned from 2024, where we get an hour and 29 minutes of crochet time. This one is currently streaming on Hulu. Start to finish, this is a cold, frigid movie. Fighting for survival during a brutal winter in an isolated fishing outpost, a crew must decide whether to help members of a sinking ship or not. So they can see in the distance this ship, it is actively sinking and there are people on it. They must decide whether going out and helping them, if that's even going to help them, or if they're just going to die in the process and not even save anybody on the ship. So what was going to happen is going to happen anyway, but now they also lost their lives in the process. And that is emphasized super well by just the conditions that they're in. Waking up and existing in this place that they're at is hard. Like, they are fighting just to get up and do the day-to-day. So the fact of going out in this freezing cold water in which if you're in it, you're not going to survive, it's a very big decision. While this movie isn't super scary, there's not a ton of jump scares, it is super heavy on the mood, so you just feel like you're being drugged through quicksand. Every decision is just, there is no winning to whatever they decide. I did end up using my neck light for this one, no overhead light and no side table lamps either. I want to just be fully into the movie, and I think that was the best way to go about it. Up next, we have The Wolf of Snow Hollow from 2020. Where we get an hour and 23 minutes of crochet time, and currently this is streaming on Tubi. Here we follow a sheriff of a small town in the mountains who continues to discover bodies after every full moon. Now, full disclosure, I did not like this one the first time I watched it because how they categorize it, horror mystery. So since it's a werewolf movie and and you know that going into it. Just from the cover and also the trailer, you know it's going to be a werewolf movie. And so I was expecting a werewolf movie. But what I got was a horror drama mystery comedy. And knowing all of those mashed up together, the second time I watched it, it was much better, super enjoyable. Or I guess I wouldn't say enjoyable because the scenarios that happen in there isn't enjoyable, but the plot made a lot more sense, the direction that they were trying to go with. But the first time I saw it, we'd be having these just gut-wrenching conversations, very real, based in reality type of conflicts that would happen, and then all of a sudden there would be a one-liner of comedy. And I'm like, what is happening? What are we doing here? I had to look through and be like, is it a comedy movie? Is it supposed to be funny? Am I supposed to laugh at that moment? Was it supposed to lighten the mood? I just didn't really know how to take it the first time around. But if you go in with those expectations that drama really is the first bit of it and then horror, so we should flip it around: drama, horror, mystery, and comedy, because there is a lot of comedy sprinkled throughout in moments that are not designed to be comedic at all. It was a rewatchable movie for me then. It's kind of 50-50 with the events that take place during the day and also the evening, so I didn't have my neck light on. I just had a side lamp on, no overhead lighting. There are jump scares. There are moments that you do have to be paying attention because there's like pivotal things to move the plot along. So if you hear the music start getting crazy, just set your project down, check out what's going on with the main characters. This next one is a lot less emphasis on the horror aspect and is one that I put in just for the ambiance alone. Not even the plot. I just love the music. I love the color. The contrast between the red cape and the snow, I think, is just stunning. I have Red Riding Hood from 2011. We get an hour and 40 minutes of crochet time, and it's currently streaming on HBO Max. Valerie's sister is killed by a werewolf that terrorizes the small town. Apparently, I was really feeling werewolves when I put this cue together. She must unravel the mystery of who the wolf really is before they strike again. So we have that going on with the plot, and there's also a love triangle happening. But again, the plot isn't what I watch this for in DVD form, so it's a part of my physical media collection. I watch it pretty often throughout the winter time. A neck light is needed for this. Consistently, it is very low lighting, whether it's the daytime, nighttime, indoor, outdoor. I mean, indoors are lit by candles, so it's kind of difficult to see. Just being set in a sleepy village with snow covering. There's a moment where she goes to her grandma's house and she makes her this amazing looking soup with a big chunky piece of bread. That's what I want when I'm watching this movie. Next up, we have The Raven from 2012, where we get an hour and 51 minutes of crochet time. This is technically categorized as a thriller mystery, but I feel like there are horror elements to it. A madman begins recreating murders inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's work and forces him to solve the mysteries along the way. Is there anything more perfect than Edgar Allan Poe in the dead of winter? No matter how many times I watch this, I still find myself getting sucked into the mystery of it all, even knowing exactly what is going to happen, who has created everything, and where the movie is going. It is still a really fun time. Great for a background to crochet to. So if you have some color work or a bigger project that needs some focus, a new stitch that you're working on, fantastic thing to throw in the background. No real major jump scares that are gonna kind of throw you. You're gonna know what's happening, not only from the music, but you can kind of see where things are going. It is pretty dark throughout it. Again, when they're inside, the only light form is candles, so we're only seeing what is happening around the character. So I would have my neck light on for this one. Although this next one doesn't take place in winter the entire time, the feeling is still the same. Even when there isn't snow on the ground, eerie, cold, just creepiness is throughout the entire movie. We have Longlegs from 2024, where we get an hour and 41 minutes of crochet time. It is currently streaming on Hulu and categorized as a horror mystery, assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn into the occult. I honestly wish that I could go back and watch this movie for the first time again because I was wrapped up in it, like trying to figure out what is happening. I didn't even really work on my project that much the first time I watched it. I would look down and was like, oh, I maybe got 2 or 3 rows done because I was so sucked into this world. I just thought it was fun. And there was like moments where you would think something is happening because suspense is just building and building and building, and then nothing would happen. You're like, did I miss something? What is going on? I need to figure this out. Bone chilling for sure. The camera angles are everything on this, and the little snippets and clues that they give you throughout it. No necklight is really needed for this. There are a ton of jump scares and the music does change dramatically, but it's pretty well lit even when it's nighttime. Whatever they're wanting us to see on screen, it's going to be very well lit. Very last movie that we have on our list for this week is Crimson Peak from 2015, where we get an hour and 59 minutes of crochet time. After marrying a charming Thomas, Edith finds herself swept away to his remote Gothic mansion. The longer she stays, darker secrets are discovered about her husband and also her new home. This is my ideal background movie to crochet, especially when it's dark, cold, chilly, snowy preferably. I want to feel like I'm at Crimson Peak, just sitting around crocheting. The atmosphere, the setting, crimson splattered against the snow, the costumes, the makeup. It is such a killer world to experience. It never drags. Even after you know everything, the ins and outs, it just does not get old to me. You might want to have your necklight on for this one just because it is very dark all throughout. The very first time that Edith goes to this Gothic mansion, she walks through the door. It looks beautiful from the outside, opens the door, walks through the threshold, looks up, and it's snowing inside. So there's big chunks missing off of the roof. Like, this thing is just in disrepair, and you feel that throughout. Like, she is constantly cold. Outside is probably warmer than inside. Just running around the house with snow on the ground in these beautiful gowns. So if you've never experienced this one, I highly suggest for the first time just having a necklight on. And so when the light is fluctuating, or if she's just carrying a candle, there's no other sources of light, you'll still be able to experience what she's experiencing as best as possible while focusing on your project as well. Hopefully you found something off of this list that you're excited to wrap yourself up in a blanket and work up your crochet project, or you're like me and you're going to watch one of these every single night this week. If you have this month's zine, the movie log is all the way in the back and it's set up perfectly for that. So I just print them off, organize it throughout the week. That way I have one movie to watch every single day. All right, we got to chat about some of the movies that I found at the thrift store this week. 2 out of the 3 finds were new watches to me. But first, let's talk about this one because what a freaking find. Scream 3 on VHS. And look how clean that is. I always get nervous when I find VHS tapes because if they're not stored well, they're not going to work then. And sometimes they have mold on the inside here. This one is perfect. I put it in my VHS player and it immediately started going. I mean, it wasn't rewound, so whoever watched it just stopped right in the middle. They didn't rewind it all the way, but that's fine. Be kind, rewind, people. So I now, for my Scream collection, I have Scream 1 and Scream 3 on VHS. I have a couple other ones on DVD, but I'm really trying to find Scream 2 on VHS. Feels so perfect to watch these on VHS. There are hilarious outtakes, a music video, and behind the scenes from all 3 Scream movies. Okay, so I haven't gotten that far. I just plan on rewinding this and watching it start to finish. Next up, we have The Turning on Blu-ray and DVD. And this originally came out in 2020, and I just had no interest in watching it. When I picked it up the other day, read the back, I'm like, why did I not? This is a gothic ghost story. It's technically categorized as horror drama, which I 100% agree with. They're in this super spooky mansion. There's only a couple of them. The kids are a little bit creepy, and that really works because sometimes kids in horror movies, it just doesn't work for me. They're not able to be the level of creepy that I need them to be for me to fully believe it. We're trying to figure out if the nanny that they had to come in, things that she's seen, if it's actually happening or if it's in her head, a combination of both, or are the kids just messing with her? Right on the top here, it says twisted alternate ending. So the first time that I watched this, I watched it through with the original ending, and then I did go through and watched, okay, what was the alternate one? and I liked that one better. Honestly, I get why they went with the ending that they did. The alternate one, I just would have loved that so much more. So whenever I watch it again, like that's gonna be my ending that I choose in my head for this movie to go with. Even though there's no snow in this one, it's more of like the end of fall. Everybody's still wrapped up in giant cozy sweaters. You can see on the cover here, they have a nice little sweater there. It still gives a nice chilly vibe. Last one that I picked up was The Long Night. This one is actually streaming on Shudder right now. It's from 2022. I didn't know anything about it other than I loved the cover and I would love to have the movie poster of this. So I just figured, you know what, without watching the trailer, I'll give it a try. Delightfully surprised. While searching for her parents she's never known, Grace returns to her childhood southern stomping grounds with her boyfriend, who I actually enjoyed quite a bit. The main character, not so much. It was hard to get over some of the decisions that she made, but the boyfriend almost felt like comic relief compared to her. So I appreciated that. I don't think he was supposed to be, but it felt that way to me. It's essentially a solo shot location. So they're trapped inside this house for a night and they're just trying to figure out how to get out of this house with their lives. Super creepy visuals, tons and tons of jump scares. If you want to watch this one, turn all the lights off, only have your neck light. It is very, very dark, but I feel like it's super important for this. Again, it's shot for one night, so you want to feel like it's nighttime the entire time. We get an hour and 31 minutes of crochet time with this one. There is bonus features and stuff in here as well. I haven't watched any behind the scenes yet, but I might actually. This is one that I'm still thinking about after I watched it. I just thought it was a good time. This might be something that I add to my September list, like one of the lists during the week. Definitely no snow. She does have sweaters on, but they're very, very thin, and the boyfriend has a t-shirt on too, so there's no chill throughout it. It's just very eerie and dead of night for the entire movie. For the project that I'm working up this week as I'm watching all these movies, I have a Tunisian crochet placemat, and I'm using the Tunisian knit stitch with some cotton yarn, and it's a worsted weight yarn. I am going through it rather quickly just because Tunisian crochet, it does eat up a lot of yarn, and the knit stitch even more so. This is one hank of yarn and I'm well over halfway into it, so I'm thinking I'm gonna need about 3 hanks of yarn to get the actual size that I want for the placemat, and this is gonna be for my Halloween decor. If it looks a little bit smaller than it did at the beginning of the video, that is correct. About halfway through, I realized that I had miscounted and I needed 10 extra stitches, which is pretty significant, so I had to frog the whole thing, but I wanted to be the size that I had in mind, so there's no way around it. I had to frog it and start over. Luckily, this is a very repetitive stitch, so I can do this very easily as I'm watching the movies, and hopefully I can get back to where I was at rather quickly and then start on the second one. I will be blocking it, and since it is cotton and it's going to be in my kitchen, it is going to go in the wash and the dryer pretty frequently, so hopefully all the curling will be reduced after it's blocked and then washed a couple times as well. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me this week and checking out some bitter cold movies to watch as you crochet. Let me know what project that you're working on, and if you have some Tunisian crochet too, shout it out in the comments. Otherwise, have a super spooky rest of your night, and I will see you in my next video.